Hello, everybody, and welcome back to more Hawaiian diving. This was my second to last dive. This was actually a drift dive, one of two. So this was the same company, Kona Diving Company, but this was for advanced open water folks, which is me. So it was a little different, I guess. The idea was to go drift diving. So this is exactly what we do in Cozumel. That's where you jump off the boat. The current kind of sweeps you down, pushes you in a direction. You dive with the current, and then you launch a buoy at the end so the boat knows where you are and comes pick you up. Actually, in this case, only the dive guide launched a buoy in Cozumel. We all did it just to kind of practice doing that kind of thing, I guess, but not the case here. But anyway, here's the dive profile. I do have to say that I was the weakest link on this trip. Clearly I could tell as soon as I showed up on time. I was actually on time for this one. Everybody there already knew everybody on the boat, and I think they do this like once a week at least. So these were very experienced divers, and turns out I was the short link on the air consumption, which you never want to be that, but you know, look at the dive time. It was over an hour. If I make it over an hour, I think that's pretty good. So, but they might have been, you know, cursing me under their breath, but it is what it is. You got to practice to get better, right? So anyway, let's jump into it. There's nothing too exciting here except for all those red things are scent warnings. My computer didn't like what I did. Rise-wise. We got down to almost 70 feet. Temperature of 77 degrees. And over an hour of under the water. One thing about this, I did switch my camera to film in 4K, 60 frames a second. Usually when I'm diving, I put it at 1080p, 60 frames a second. The reason for that being, most of my dives are dark, and obviously you shoot a higher resolution, you need more light, essentially. So I start out at 1080p. In fact, I think I've told it on the 1080p, 60 frames a second, to switch to 30 frames a second if it's getting too dark, but I've never really tested or verified that, so I don't know if or how that works. But this might be my first dive videos at 4K, because I always do 1080p. But I thought it was light enough down here, because I was diving all week, and I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of light getting down there. For these dives, I'm gonna try it in 4K. So I did. What you're looking at now is a lot of blue. A whole lot of blue. Man, that's blue. Alright. I don't know. It's, blame the color balance. Probably a combination of the color balance on the GoPro not doing exactly what it should. And, you know, we're deep enough, it's just like it's lost. There's nothing you can do to prevent that. But even when I shine my light, I was checking out some of these. Look at that, so there's some white light there. And even that doesn't look super great in my opinion, so I don't know. Oh yeah, before I forget, the dive guide on this trip was Sarah. She was awesome, just like everybody else from Kona Diving Company. Emron was there again. 1, 2, 3 times. He couldn't get enough of me, apparently. No, he couldn't get enough of the diving. That's what it was. Yeah, they call this a drift dive. I had to chuckle a little bit because in Cozumel, you drift dive. Darn it, there is very strong currents underwater, and you are flowing with them, whether you want to or not. It is very hard to turn and swim into the current in Cozumel. I've done it a few times. I mean, that's when you get a workout. That's when you blow through air. That's what you don't want at all when you're diving. I've done it to try to stay with the group. I'm kind of on the larger side. My cousin is too. You know, in our dive guide in Cozumel, it's this tiny little girl. And you know, she has impeccable form. But even beyond that, you know, the wind catches the bigger sails. So you know, I feel like the current hits me, you know, a little harder than it hits her. But you know, she can like turn into the current and like flick her ankles and 10 feet into the current and stop on a dime. It's just nuts. I mean, I don't have those skills, but you know, that combined with I'm a lot bigger than she is. You know. Yeah, there's a few dives in Cozumel that almost got just bad, for lack of a better word. Not fun, I'll say. It turned into a job almost. It's like the whole time was spent just kicking into the current, just trying not to float away. So I don't know. Yeah, it's the best thing you can do in Cozumel is go diving with people your own size. But all right, enough about Cozumel. We're in Hawaii. I should be talking about Hawaii, not Cozumel. But there just isn't much to say so far. It's just the, dare I say, boring coral at the bottom here. I mean, you can tell we're not exactly drifting that fast. There was one time, I think it was the second dive, where we kind of came on a underwater rock. And I started kicking kind of hard for that because I was worried I was going to run into it. So I had to take some evasive maneuvers. And that was some work and that was some breathing. And I burnt through some air doing that. Nobody else seemed to have a problem, so I don't know. But yeah, it didn't take me long to figure out I was the weak link, the most inexperienced one out of this group. Even though this was dive number 103 for me, I think. Yeah, that's Sarah. You can tell she's got the Sarah's got the SMB there. Well, we all had SMBs. She was the only one with the reel sending it up to the surface. I actually did take my reel to Hawaii, but after the first few dives, didn't need it whatsoever, so I left it in the room after that. And then, you know, you get to the dive where you do need it, and that's just how things work out, of course. Sorry, my phone is making noise. I need to do not disturb. All right, that's the end of that. Oh, what's that? Is that a gar? One of those big gars? The big thing we saw here, I think, I can't remember if it was the first or second dive, but we saw some spinner dolphins underwater, which that is the first time in my life I've ever seen dolphins underwater, so that was cool. They looked huge. It's probably the water magnification. Yeah, there's just not much to see here. Oh, I will say this too. Like I said before, this was my first dives in 4K. And my GoPro started doing its F-up thing. I always thought it was cool, like it'll start recording and then it'll freeze. The video will freeze and I can see it in the back of the camera if I'm looking at it. That happened a lot when I was walking through the snow. I figured it was too cold to work. In this case, I don't know why it would happen. I think it's a battery problem essentially. So I bought a bunch of spare batteries for this. None of them are GoPro official. So they're third party, probably POSs. And I think, especially recording the 4K, takes a lot of power. And when that charge in the battery starts to drop just a little bit, I think it just can't deliver what it needs to deliver to the camera to keep it working. And so a lot of these, well, not a lot, towards the end, these videos started freezing. I saw it underwater, and I verified before my recording session here. I did take a sneak peek at some of the videos at the end, and yeah, so when it freezes, like the picture freezes, the audio keeps going. I don't know, it's just the way it is. But when it freezes, I'm just going to skip to the next one because there's no point in keeping that going. So just a heads up, that's coming. Yeah, I don't know. Just super blue, super blue. That's, like I said, I mentioned in other videos, wish it wasn't that way, but I'm not going to take the time to mess with color correction. And even when I do that, it messes up the, color where I have my light shine. Yeah, this is about it. I mentioned before we heard whales singing underwater from time to time. I don't remember which dives they were or what, but I've had my headphones on watching these videos and I haven't heard that, so I guess the GoPro didn't pick up on that. It's probably too faint or maybe too high frequency. I don't know. 2100 left, baby. Everybody else probably got like 24, 2300 left. Ooh, check out that steam gauge. What am I looking at? Direction, maybe? Who knows? Just pretending like I know what I'm doing. That's what that was. Ooh, 50 feet deep. 36 airtime, 50 minutes until mandatory decompression stop. That's what my computer was showing. I just don't have much to say. That's got to be Sarah. I mean, well, I don't know. Everybody should have had an SMB, so yeah, I can't tell. All I do remember is my dive guide's name is Sarah. Catching bubbles. I remember Emron had his camera at the ready on this trip, or on this dive. Man, just look at that color balance with the fins. It's like the fins are glowing. I just don't really understand. I don't understand you, GoPro, sometimes. Why is it so blue? You're my boy, Blue. Oh man, I was watching a soccer game today. MLS. It was LAFC versus Portland. And I don't know if the game was in LA or Portland, but Will Ferrell was there. And they showed him. Man, he's getting old, man. It was gray hair and time waits for no man. It's sad reality of life. I was thinking Old School is probably my favorite Will Ferrell movie, even though he's not even the lead in it. he's like lead 1B, you know. I guess, was it Luke Wilson? Is that? Yeah, it's Luke Wilson. I guess he's the main character, obviously, but man, Will Ferrell's pretty darn close. Number 2. That's probably my favorite Will Ferrell movie. Yeah. Selfie time. I did a lot of selfies on this trip. Oh, round two selfie, baby. Uh-oh. Oh, that's when I'm grabbing the band and put it back in my head. Yeah. So it kind of hangs upside down for a minute. There's a school of fish. What's up, fishies? I don't know. I am running out of things to say. Let's see. Oh, well. Continuing on with the soccer. St. Louis had its first MLS game in history today. They built a brand new, lovely stadium, sort of downtown. It's downtown to me, I'll say that much. And I think the MLS commissioner was pretty impressed with the stadium. And yeah, I don't know if they won or not. I don't even know what time the game was. I thought about going down there, but I didn't go. I don't know. I mean, I didn't have a ticket, but I think they had an outside viewing watch party that I was thinking about going to, but I ultimately decided, nah, I'll catch the next one. It's cool. I do need to go to a game. You guys like soccer? I like soccer, man. I quit playing by like, I don't know, 5th grade. I was a goalie on the orange team. No. I made the orange team part up. Yeah, I used to be a goalie. My buddy, my best friend, one of my best friends, he got me into soccer in high school. He was a big-time player. And, I still don't really understand the game, but I do enjoy watching it. I love watching like a 40-yard blast. Just these guys kick that ball like 70, 80 miles an hour. It's nuts. They just blast one from like 40 yards out. Beat the keeper. It's pretty awesome. I haven't seen any dolphins yet. Waiting on the dolphins. Where are you, dolphins? That might be the most interesting thing on these next 2 dives. Sarah, there was a couple times where Sarah was pointing things out and trying to show us things, and they got in there. I'll say that for these dive guides, man. They were, especially Trixie. Like I mentioned, Trixie was taking her regulator out of her mouth so she could stick her head in smaller spaces. It's just crazy. There's Emron. He was going diving in Australia. He was talking about that on the boat. He might be there and back by now. I wonder how that went. Yeah, I was told once, if you want to go see a dead reef, go to Australia. I don't know. I think the reefs are dying, based on what I've heard. So I don't know if that was good diving for him or not, but I hope it was. Yeah, especially by this dive, I was looking down a lot. In my mind, in my memory, I thought I was looking into the blue a lot more. They always tell you to look up, look around. Because in Hawaii, you might see some big things. So I was definitely trying to do that a lot more by the end of my time there. You can see I'm kind of doing it here. But, I could have been doing a lot of it off camera too. I think it was the end of the second dive here. This is the first one. We were apparently very close to some whales. And in fact, they had already, Sarah had already popped the buoy. Give me those bubbles. Oop, next one. That's, oopsie. Sarah had already popped the buoy, and the dive guy, you know, could see the buoy and kind of see the direction we were going with our bubbles. And he saw a whale kind of, you know, on an interception path of where we were swimming to, and he thought for sure that we saw this whale and we're going after it, but none of us saw it. It must have just been right outside of visual range. Because we got on the boat, and he was like, "How's the whale? How's the whale?" And we're all like, "What? What whale, dude? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, I thought you guys were swimming towards that whale. You didn't see that whale?" Like, "No, we didn't see a whale, dude." So that was kind of a bummer. That's one of those things that, you know, keep it to yourself, man. Ignorance is bliss. But nah, he only mentioned it because he thought we saw it. Oh, this fish. These are beautiful fish, man. I love this fish. And what do you know? My camera is actually pointing at it. No, I didn't stay on it very long. I love that. I love that trailing dorsal fin. Dorsal is the right one? I think that's the right one. The one up top, it's just got that long tail on it. It's just a beautiful fish. It's like birds of paradise feathers, you know. They just trail on. Some fish got little, not little, got fins that do the same thing. Fish are underwater birds. Tropical fish are underwater tropical birds. Very, very pretty. Very pretty. This has mostly been a boring dive. I don't know what I was like. Yeah, you gotta turn your camera on, you know. You never know what you're gonna see. And if you wait to see something and then turn the camera on, you're not gonna see it, so... I don't know. Where are we at? 13,709. Okay, this is third to last. Stick with it. Almost done. Almost done. That's what you want when you're trying to get views on YouTube, right? Beg your audience to stick with you. Come on, we're almost at the end. You can do it. You can do it. I don't know. You know, I started this channel originally. Ooh, Jay-Z, what's up? You know, my parents used to dive, and particularly for my dad. I'm not sure my mom liked it that much. She might watch this. I'm sorry if that's incorrect, but yeah, I think my dad especially. I really wish he'd get back into diving, but he says he's too old, so I gotta take his word for it. But I think at first I got this GoPro just so I could share my diving with him because I thought he'd really enjoy that. And I don't know. I think he does. I don't know if he watches every video I put out. Probably not. And I've probably gotten pretty bad about sending it to him because, you know, it's not like they're subscribed to me or anything or even know what that means. So, yeah, I kind of started doing the dive videos so he could live vicariously through me. I didn't start doing the narration until about halfway through. Yeah, that started with my playthrough of Pathways into Darkness. I got the idea to do a playthrough on this old video game, that I played growing up. Yeah, we're frozen. See, here's frozen. I'm gonna skip to the next one. And this is probably gonna freeze pretty soon too, so I think this is the last one. Yes. So alright, not very eventful. Stay tuned for the next one. The dolphins will be there. I'm pretty sure I caught them on camera. Haven't peeked ahead. But I hope to see you there. And when this video freezes, I'm gonna cut her off. Goodbye.